On Friday, March 13, 2020, the staff of the Frazier History Museum sat down at a conference table, mindful of the 6-foot distance we were supposed to keep between us in light of the new coronavirus that was quickly spreading out of control, and brainstormed plans for a way to go virtual in light of the mandated shutdown our governor had just announced. On Monday, March 16th, the Frazier Virtual Museum debuted to an audience of 20,000 subscribers. It was a digital communication with activities for families, videos, and short written pieces on local history. A week later, seeing the need to chronicle the history our audience was living through, we began collecting submissions from the public for an archive that we called the Coronavirus Capsule. The virtual museum was a daily endeavor supported by the newsroom experience our president and director of community engagement had. Our days consisted of planning, creating, and disseminating content. But by late spring, we were looking for a way to safely engage people who were eager to get out of the house, remain with their bubble, and learn. The idea of a citywide tour had always been something that we wanted to try, so this seemed like the prime opportunity.
There has always been a hesitancy among some of our citizens to travel downtown, and we knew these fears to be unfounded. But the fact that Louisville found itself in the national spotlight as a result of the killing of Breonna Taylor and the resulting protests that took place downtown seemed to add to this particular viewpoint. We wish to push back against this narrative and also show people that there was a rich and often surprising history downtown and the surrounding areas. We knew that this was especially the case in the areas that were neglected in our city's narrative in the years since suburbanization and urban renewal left Louisville as one of the most segregated cities in the country. We decided to structure a drivable audio tour with a scavenger hunt element through the center of town, inspired in a way by the cemeteries, historic markers, and old buildings in our neighborhoods, which we turned to in order to provide relevant content to our virtual museum audience. We decided to make the city our museum while our doors were still closed.
Louisville is notoriously segregated by a physical and emotional barrier referred to in the city as the 9th Street Divide. And our museum happens to be located at 9th and Main in downtown Louisville. So our tour began at 10th and stretched to one of our city's beautiful Olmsted parks on the south side of town, which happens to offer one of the best views of Louisville you can find anywhere. Along the way, participants listened to audio stories we created, highlighting unsung people and important events related to the sites on which they stood. Each was 5 to 8 minutes long, engaging, digestible, underscored with music, and aimed at a casual audience. In the heart of downtown, people visited and heard about the site of the one-time deepest artesian well in the world, the first public library in the United States staffed by Black librarians, and the gym where Muhammad Ali's bicycle was stolen, setting him on a path to become one of the most famous and beloved sports heroes in the world.
As they drove on, they learned about the fight for women's suffrage in our town and state, the Southern Exposition, which was Louisville's closest thing to a World's Fair, Frederick Law Olmsted's impact on our city, and also Enid Yandel, one of the most important and remarkable American sculptors at the turn of the century. To supplement the audio and location-based experience, we offered a print or PDF download that included primary source documents like newspaper articles, Sanborn fire insurance maps, and other resources to help build a frame of reference for the audience. We got great feedback, and while this was designed to be a safe experience to do with a quarantine, it has continued to be a popular option for friends and families to use in exploring our city.
One of the ways we've tried to make this experience more accessible, in fact, is by advertising and offering it for free to any student from a school receiving Title I funding for its students. In fact, the Great Louisville Hunt, as we've named it, has been a springboard to another experience we are developing called The Journey, which will share the story of Thornton and Lucy Blackburn, a couple who escaped enslavement to freedom in the 1830s. The place-based experience will also shine a light on life in the city at the time, as well as the importance of Southern Indiana before emancipation. Thornton and Lucy played an incredibly critical role in the shaping of the Underground Railroad and Canada's role in being its terminus. Although this project will be much more reverential in tone, it will be a similar tour of sites in the city that have surprising, forgotten, and touching stories to tell.